this right here, this graph, can you see that this is a cubic? And that this graph right here is a parabola that's going down? So this is G right here. And this is G down here. Would you agree with that? And this cubic, this is F up here, and this is F down here. And if you notice, I'm going to have a point A right here, I'm going to have a point B right here, and I'm going to have a point C right here.
I don't understand any of this right now.
Okay. All I'm saying is if you take a look at F, this is a cubic equation. This graph is a graph of a cubic equation.
Okay, yeah, I think I get it now.
This graph right here is a parabola that's going down. This is a parabola that's going down. And I have two different areas, correct? So if I have to do this without a calculator, I'm going to have two integrals. Would you agree with that? Okay, so I'm going to figure out A, I'm going to figure out B, and I'm going to figure out C. And so to do that, I remember asking Grace that yesterday, and she said, make those two equal to each other. And that's what I'm going to do. So this is something that I would expect to see, and I'm going to make this equal to 0. And when I add x squared, I don't have an x cubed, but when I add an x squared to both sides, the x squareds are gone, and this simplifies to minus 12x. Austin, would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Austin, to be honest with you, that makes me feel really good, because I can factor that. I can factor what out of each of these terms?
3x.
3x, perfect. And when I do that, I get x squared minus 4 equals 0, and that can continue to factor, and I'm going to have x plus 2, x minus 2 equals 0. So I get x equals 0, x equals a negative 2, and x equals 2. Nice numbers, wouldn't you agree? Okay, so that means A, again, I'm integrating, everything's in terms of x, so I'm going to use the x values. A is going to be a negative 2, B is going to be 0, and x is 2. Okay, kind of some algebra, you know, this part right here may have been algebra that you did in advanced algebra, correct? Where you made them equal to 0, you factored out and figured out what those x solutions are, correct? All right, super. So now we're going to do the calculus part, and so I'm going to integrate. Get over here. You know what? I don't like this pen. It's bothering me. With a different pen. All right. I'm going to integrate from a negative 2 to 0, and I'm going to have the top graph, which is 3x cubed minus x squared minus 10x, that's F, parentheses, minus G, which is a negative x squared plus 2x dx. And since I'm not using a calculator, I'm writing them all out. If I was going to use a calculator, Owen, I would simply say F minus G. Okay? And then I'm going to add the other area, and it's going to be 0 to 2. So where I ended off here, I begin here, going to 2, and I'm going to have, now they switch positions, and on top I have G, and I'm going to subtract from it F. That's a cube, sorry. Okay, and so I did some simplification. Audrey, I said this is 3x cubed, does that look correct? And a minus x squared minus a negative x squared, or a minus x squared plus x squared is going to be gone. And then I have a minus 10x minus a positive 2x, I'm going to have a minus 12x. And I'm gonna figure out the area right here. And so I'm gonna figure out the antiderivative and, Ariana, what's the antiderivative of 3x cubed?
3/4 x over
Perfect. Minus, and what's the antiderivative of 12x?
-6x squared.
6x squared, perfect. Evaluated from -2 to 0. When I put 0 in there, I get 0. Would you agree? Now minus, what do I get when I put a -2 in here? Well, -2 raised to even power is going to be positive. And so 2 to the 4th is 16, divided by 4 is 4, times it by 3, I believe I get 12. Minus, now if I put it into here, again it's even, it's going to be 4, 24. So this is going to be a -12, but I got 0 minus a -12, I get 12. I should always get a positive number. If you get a negative number in computing this area, you made a mistake. Most common mistake are these are switched around, correct? Because the numbers up here are all bigger than the numbers down here, right? The y values. All right. Now I'm going to come over here and figure out the same thing. So I got from 0 to 2. Move it over, move it up a little bit so you can see it. Again, I'm going to have a -3x cubed, and then I have a -x squared minus another -x squared, so that's going to become positive. Boom, the x squareds are gone. And I'm going to have a 2x minus a -10x, I get plus 12x. Austin, notice that these are opposites of each other.
Yep.
It makes sense that they're opposites of each other because I'm subtracting them in the opposite manner, right? Okay. dx, and because Ariana told me this, I know this is going to be a -3/4 x to the 4th plus a positive 6x squared evaluated from 0 to 2. When I put 2 in here, this will become, I believe this will be a -12. And then this will be 24. And when I plug 0 in there, I get 0, correct? So I get another 12, so my answer is 24. Happy day. Okay? That's what you would have to show me if it's calculator free, correct? A very doable problem, right? Now, another way you can do it is you could do the absolute value, and you could integrate from a -2 to a +2 of the absolute value of f of x minus g of
I
x.
can't see the entire sheet.
Yep, I'm going to slide it over, thank you. Now, the reason I showed this is I think I need a better job of saying, okay, if you've got a calculator problem, of which I'm going to make this a calculator problem, what do I need to show to get credit? I have to show this. Does everybody understand that? I could have even said, hey, I'm going from A to C of the absolute value of f of x minus g of x. That would have been okay because up here, I know what A, B, and C are. Has everybody got that? This is my work if I'm using my calculator. I get a point for this and I get a point for this. And what that's really doing, it's taking this negative stuff and flipping it around, okay? And I think I put it in the machine. We'll find out if I did. Nope, I didn't. And so I'm going to put in 3x to the 3rd minus x squared minus 10x and a negative x squared plus 2 TI people, it's Math 9, correct? Casio people, it's in your options, or right here I have it in math. And so I'm gonna take the integral, and TI people, I think it's math number to get to absolute value, am I right? Here I'm gonna go to option, and I think I'm also in number, and there's my absolute value. And then you should know how to get to vars and get y1 minus y2. And I hope I'm doing the calculator enough that you're becoming more and more comfortable with it. Does that seem okay with everybody? And I'm going to put a 2 here, and I'm going to put a negative 2 here, and I'm hoping I get 24 as my answer, and I did. So here's my 3 points by using the calculator. Are we okay with that?
Do you think you could go over like the TI?
Yeah, I will.
version?
Now, I got an old TI. Okay, I don't have a new one. And maybe I have the stuff in here because I was using both of them. Ah, I do. So you did that, right? Okay, and so there's my screen, I'm gonna clear it. And so I'm gonna go math 9. Okay, now is yours a newer calculator?
No.
Okay, so you have one like I do, like ancient? Okay. And then I'm gonna go to math again. And I'm gonna slide over here to number. And do you see where it says ABS? That's absolute value. So I'm gonna put that in there. And then over here, you see where it says vars. And then you go to Y variables, and it says function, and there's Y1 minus, and then I gotta do it again. And then I'm gonna choose Y2. And I finish off my parentheses. Okay, then you gotta put a comma. And then it asks for A first. So that's my negative 2, and then it asks for B second.
Okay. That's
Okay.
it.
And that should be it.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna do a little tiny prayer segment, because me and technology don't always match up. You know, and I made a mistake somewhere, and where did I do it?
You have to put an X before the negative.
Oh, that's great! See, when I go back and forth, I'm pretty good at both of them, but there are some things I really like about the Casio, and not putting the X in there is one of them, and I forget that in there, so. You could even yell at me, Jonah, if you forgot your X.
There's 2 columns.
Too many commas. Anything else I did? Okay, let's try it now. And man, it takes a long time, these processors. So, that's where I am on that, okay? Okay, and again, if, you know, you wanna get to the point where you feel more and more comfortable with that, okay? Sometimes, to be honest with you, when I was, well, I just had a scientific calculator in 1976, because graphing calculators haven't been. But even now, today, because I'm a flawed human being, I check my work on my calculator, okay? And you wanna get to the point where you can check your work on your calculator, okay? The Casio has this type of thing, and let's see if I can get it to work. Okay, so I need to change my window a little bit. I'm gonna go from negative 2. I think I can do this. I can go Shift G solve. I like it because they're different colors too, because sometimes I get confused with which graph is which graph. And I know there are TIs that have different colors, but I can go by their, I can integrate by their intersections. Enter, on argument, okay. Maybe I gotta do that, enter. And so see how it shaded it in? It gives me that value. And so I know it's 12 right here, tells me it, and then I can do it again. so intersection, I'm gonna choose that one, then choose that one. It shades it in, I get another 12. So I think Casio, I think I figured out how to do it on a TI, and I think you get on a TI, you have to go to your draw command. If you look, it's underneath program, it's colored, it says draw. I think that's how it'll shade it in. I think that's what somebody figured out last year, okay? And you can always Google, hey, how do you integrate on a TI from intersection points? We doing okay on that? All right, so here's the last one, and I'm gonna give you a couple of hints. And so here I got a -2, here I have a +2, I have to figure out this x value. Would you agree? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let 2 minus 1/2 x squared equal 1. Because that's my other graph. This is the graph right here, y equals 1. This is the graph y equals 2 minus 1/2 x squared. Everybody okay on that? And I'm going to make this a calculator one. And let's see, I'm going to subtract 1, I get 1 equals 1/2 x squared. 2 equals x squared. X equals plus or minus the square root of 2. So this is a negative square root of 2. This is a positive square root of 2 over here. Now, Ella, what do you notice about this and this?
All the same.
They are the same, right? Do you see the symmetry that's here? So if I just figured out one of these and double it, I'm going to have both of them together. Would you agree? So to set that up, it's going to look like this. 2 times the integral, and it doesn't matter which one I choose, I'm going to choose the right one. Is everybody okay with that?
Sure, so 0 to the positive square root of 2?
No, from the square root of 2 to 2. So I'm figuring out this and this together.
Oh, my bad then.
Okay. Everybody okay with that? Does everybody understand why I'm multiplying it by 2? Okay, so now it's going to be top minus bottom. So it is going to be 1 minus the parabola. Or this is what I'm going to put in my calculator.
Well, you put in 1 minus the parabola.
Because right here, this is my top, y equals 1, and this is y equals 2 minus 1/2 x squared. And that's my rectangle right there. So the length of that rectangle is 1 minus this equation.
Okay. I'm trying to understand.
Okay, so would you agree that this distance right here, from the x-axis up to there, is 1?
Yeah.
Okay, but this is a lot shorter than that. Would you agree? Because this amount has been subtracted from it.
Oh, I think I get it now.
Okay, and that amount is this right here. Does that make sense now? Everybody okay on that? So now I'm going to write this as, this is square root of 2, this is 2, and I'm going to write this as 1/2 x squared minus 1 dx. So what I did is I took 1 minus 2, that's a -1, and then when I distribute the minus sign, that became positive. Okay? Everybody all right on that?
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how you did that. Let me take a look. Yep, makes sense.
Okay, so I'm going to come to the machine, and I'm going to put a 2 in here. I'm going to go to math. I'm going to go to 9. I'm actually going to type in 0.5 x squared minus 1, comma, x, comma, square root of 2, comma, 2 parentheses. I hope I wrote that correctly. Jonah, do you see any mistakes?
I don't think so.
Yeah, we'll see. I got an answer. Okay. I wonder if there's a, okay, so I'm gonna write 0.552, but I'm gonna store that. Where's my store button? Second answer, store, and I'm just gonna store it. I almost store everything in A because I'm just lazy. Okay, so I got that in A, so I won't have any rounding error, okay? So this next one now is I'm gonna figure out this area, and it's gonna go from a negative square root of 2 to 2. My top is 2 minus 1/2 x squared minus 1 dx. Is everybody okay where I got that?
Okay, so you,
I'm figuring out this area right here, correct? This, my length right here, is this y value minus 1.
yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay, good. And I can simplify it to this. Because 2 minus 1 is 1. So now, I'm coming back to the machine, and if I got a TI, I can go second enter till I get back to it. There it is. And so I'm just gonna move my arrow. The first thing I'm gonna do is delete that 2. And the second thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna insert, let's go second insert, put a negative 1 in here. The negative sign, I didn't want the 1, sorry. And I'm gonna change this to a plus. I'm gonna put a negative sign in here. And I'm gonna change this to the square root of 2. Do they show you this ever, that you can edit your editing features on your TI? Okay. You guys know about second insert? It inserts something in between. Practice a couple times, make 15,000 mistakes like I do, and then you'll become, actually it's probably 10,000 mistakes.
My God, that would be so that would have been so much useful earlier.
So then I'm gonna press enter, and I got that, correct? And so now I'm gonna go plus alpha A, right? Press enter. And so my answer is 2.437, or 8, I guess. And this was equal to, I better write this down, 1.887. Okay, now notice,
So answers
there are people in here,
2.438.
pardon?
Answers 2.438.
2.438 is my answer, correct. Okay, but notice, there are some people in here, if you look at my work, it's all over the place, correct?